Have you ever been around the people you love the most, your friends, family, or even your romantic partner, and yet you still feel alone? You still feel like they don't see you, they don't get you, they don't really understand who you are. And this feeling of loneliness just comes up and overtakes you. Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining 3 reasons why that feeling of loneliness comes up. I'm going to be using depth psychology, and we're going to break down exactly what's technically happening inside your mind and how to avoid this in the future, how to actually stop feeling lonely and connect with the people around you. You know, you might be completely surrounded by these people, lying in bed next to the person that you love most in the world, and yet never have you felt more isolated and separate and alone. And I'm laughing because I've experienced this myself, and it's a terrible feeling. And you know, I want to help people like yourself to understand what's actually happening inside your mind and why you are separated from the people around you and isolated from the people around you, because you don't have to be. And so what I'm going to be explaining now is, let's just jump straight into reason number one. Reason number one is that you are alone. So it's a sad thing to accept, but that feeling is reflecting reality. That feeling is connecting you to what's real and what's actually happening. And what's actually happening is, the truth is that nobody can see inside your mind. Just like you can't see into anybody else's mind, you are separated from them and separated from everybody else, even the people closest to you, by the fact that they simply can't read your mind. They can't feel what you're feeling in the moment. They can't see your thoughts. Okay, they can't feel what's going on in your body, the different sensations that you're experiencing moment to moment. And so the reason we feel close to other people is through spending time with them and through dialogue, where we talk and they understand more about our personality and what's happening inside our mind and our inner world. And that's when you build connection, and that's how you feel less alone with the people you are the closest with and who love you the most and who you love the most, because you see their mind. You don't just see a bunch of flesh and a skeleton and eyeballs. You see their personality and you see who they are. You love them for who they are, their personality, which is their mind and their soul. So the first reason that you feel so alone is that you are alone. You are alone inside your own mind. And that can be a scary thing to accept and a sad thing, but it's also a beautiful thing. And I'll be explaining why in reason number two. Reason number two that you feel so alone is you're holding parts of yourself back from other people. So let's just say you're with your romantic partner and you've been with them for 3 months. People always call this the honeymoon phase, because after 3 months, it becomes more difficult to withhold that other part of your personality. You know, the disgusting part that farts and picks a nose and has all these dirty habits and all these other parts of your personality that you don't want this person who you're trying to impress to see. And that honeymoon phase is over because you feel this safety, and you're more willing to let this other part of your personality to be shown. So that other part of your personality is what we generally hold back from other people, especially when we're out in the world. You know, we don't walk out in the world naked and telling everyone who we come across the darkest, deepest secrets of our soul. We don't do that. But with the closest people in your life, your family, your romantic partner, your closest friends, those are the people who you're supposed to feel less alone with and actually have real human connection with. And when there are parts of yourself that you still hold back, maybe something you've done that you regret massively, you know, maybe you cheated on your ex and you've never told anyone about it, and it's a secret that's deep in your soul, or you've done something which you look at and you see it as some horrible thing, which is, you know, reflecting upon you that you're a bad person, or you've made some mistake, or you've done something, or there's a part of you that you just hate. Maybe that you overeat, or you're lazy, or whatever it is, and you haven't looked at that part of your own personality and accepted it, and there's this part of you that you're holding back from your relationships. And so what I'll explain here is technically what's actually happening inside your mind. So this here is the basic diagram of the human psyche, and I'll just label these 2 parts here. So this is your conscious mind and this is the unconscious, and this circle represents your total psyche, or your whole psyche. And I just drawn the stick man figure there just to show you that it's a person, it's you. And for now, we won't worry about this. So let's just focus here. And this is the conscious mind. This is the unconscious. So the conscious mind is the part of your mind of where you are now. It's the part you are conscious of and where you exist inside your mind. So right now you're watching this video, you're in your conscious mind. Your unconscious is everything that you're not aware of. And just a quick example to show you your conscious and unconscious mind in action. Your unconscious is where all your memories are stored. So right now you're not thinking about every memory that ever happened to you, but sometimes you can recall a memory and bring it into your conscious mind and you remember something. When you remember something, the place that the memory comes from is your unconscious. Okay? So that's just a basic example of what your unconscious is. So reason number 2 is that you're actually isolating yourself from the people around you. And that's because there's some part of your personality, some part of who you are, what you are, that you are not sharing with them and you're holding back from them. And there's a key reason why you're holding it back from them. And that's what I'm going to explain it now. And the reason that you hold back from them is because you think they're going to reject you. You think they're going to look down on you. You think they're going to think you're disgusting or evil or a terrible person or a bad person or all these horrible things. For example, maybe you told a big lie. Maybe you betrayed somebody, betrayed your best friend. Maybe you bullied somebody. Maybe the reality is that these things, they're not trivial. Okay, they're huge. The human life and the reality of human life and human existence is that, look, shit happens. And, people go through things which are tragic and people do things which are truly evil. Okay, and evil does exist within you and me. And so the point here is that what you're holding back is not something like, you stole $2 from your mom's wallet one time or whatever it is. It's not something small. It's like, these are big things. It can be to do with death, children, relationships, like romantic relationships, money. It can be very big and deep and horrible things. I won't go into specific examples, but what we're talking about here is that what you're holding back from somebody could be some deep secret of your soul, some deep regret that you have, something that is just so abhorrent, so bad, that it's just this thing that's deep in your mind that you just never want to look at, you don't want to remember it, and you wish it never happened. And it could be a situation where you haven't done something that you perceive yourself as terrible, but maybe there's just a part of your personality that you don't like, right? Maybe you had a period in your life where you were very promiscuous and you were sleeping around with everybody and you don't want your partner to know about that. Maybe, you had a period in your life where you ate a lot of food and you got really fat and you don't want your partner to find out about this lazy, gluttonous, just overeating, lazy part of your personality. And so, it could be something that you perceive as small, but generally the things that separate us and isolate us from other people are not small. And they're especially not small in our eyes. And so what happens is, let's just imagine that you are next to that person and it's just one person, you another person, and this is them, and this is you, okay? You think in your mind, okay, that they're going to reject you. You think that they are going to look at what you've done or look at who you are or look at these qualities that exist inside your personality and they're going to be disgusted or disappointed or afraid of you or any of these kinds of things. And what's actually happening here is that this is your conscious mind. Okay, when we're talking about all these thoughts and this attitude that you have, this is your conscious mind. It's happening in here, right? They're going to reject me. They're going to hate me. I can't possibly show them all that I am and all that is me, because all that is me, I hate it, right? So they're probably going to hate it too, okay? And so unconscious, what exists in your unconscious mind is the opposite to that attitude, right? So let's just say that let's just draw the attitude of, let me just draw a minus, actually. the attitude in your conscious mind is that you're going to be rejected and they're going to push you away and or whatever, all these negative things. And so the attitude that you're unconscious of, that in your mind doesn't exist or can't happen, or that just doesn't exist in your conscious mind, it exists in your unconscious. And so we'll represent that attitude with this plus here, this green plus. Okay? And so in your conscious mind, you only see the negative of this part of you, this part of your past or who you are or your personality, this negative part of you that you don't want the world to see. So this actually is your attitude towards yourself. Okay? Now, what happens is, because that's your attitude towards this part of you, what you do is you show the people around you and the world outside a different part of you, which is what you perceive as good or positive. And we call this in depth psychology the persona. Okay, so let's just say that one part of your personality is this promiscuous part, or I'm not sure if this will get censored on YouTube, but the slutty part of you, right? Who's promiscuous and just having sex with everybody. Okay, this is one part of your personality that you may perceive as negative, and then there's the other part of you that is what you perceive as a positive part of your personality, which is maybe monogamous or sensible or whatever you think the opposite of promiscuous is, or slutty, whatever the opposite of this negative quality is. And so the part of your personality that you're going to show the world and other people is the positive part, which is the persona. It's like a mask that you put on, because it's telling the world, okay, I'm only this, I'm only monogamous, or I'm only sensible, whatever the word is, that's not, or the quality is, that's not this negative quality that's attributed to you. You know, I'm only good, I'm not evil, I'm only this and I'm not that. It's split. Your mind is split in these two opposites. Okay, now what happens when you put this persona on is that it's going to isolate you from the people around you. Okay, they don't get to see all of your personality because you aren't willing to show it. And the reason you aren't willing to show it is what we're going to go through here now. The reason you're not willing to show that part of your personality is that you're pushing it away. You're pushing it away from your conscious mind. You don't want to go through the day and wake up every morning thinking, I'm this quality, I'm evil, or I'm slutty, or I'm dirty. Whatever this negative quality is that you're pushing away, you don't want to wake up and have that in your conscious mind all the time. And so you separate yourself from it, and instead you attach to your ego personality inside your conscious mind, your personal identity, who you are, right? You don't go through the world saying, I'm slutty, dirty, and evil. You'll say, you know, I'm good, sensible, and clean, right? That's how you're going to describe yourself to another person when you meet them, right? That's the persona that you put on in order to operate in the world. Now, when you're with the people closest to you, you can kind of take some of those layers off most of the time, and you can relax, right? You can be dirty, you can be who you are, you can be what you are. Now, when you're getting to those deeper levels, though, those deep parts of you that, you know, even you're afraid of, you're probably still going to, you know, people call it putting the walls up, but it's putting your persona on. You're not going to reveal this thing that you think is so terrible, right? And so what happens is your attitude to this part of you becomes unconscious, and your connection to it becomes unconscious. So this quality that you have and your conscious association to it, your relation to it, becomes unconscious. And then it becomes what's called the shadow. Okay? And the shadow is the first layer of the unconscious. Okay, that's the shadow here. And what happens is the shadow is experienced and projected outside. Okay, and so what happens is when you're talking to another person, it's a little bit much to wrap your head around, but when you're sitting there talking to that other person, in your unconscious mind is this quality that you hate about yourself. And because you're pushing it away and you hate it and you have a negative association to it, which just means that you don't like it, that attitude is projected outside onto them. Okay, so you're sitting there and you're having a thought that they think you're bad in some way. But remember, you're isolated from them and from other people, just like they're isolated from you. So this thought is like a little beam of energy going out that this person is going to think badly of me, right? But you don't actually know what's going on inside their mind. That's separate from you. And so that thought is purely inside your mind. And it's actually a projection, right? You don't know what they're going to think. You don't know. And the key here is that this is actually just what you think about yourself. Okay? This is, you think that they're going to reject you. Really, you're just rejecting that part of yourself. You're pushing that part of yourself away, of your own personality, this quality that exists within you. It exists within you, and it is a part of you. Pushing it away doesn't mean it's no longer a part of you. It just means that it becomes unconscious. Okay? So then it's experienced outside because it's projected outside. And so what's happening is you're pushing away this part of yourself, and then that attitude of rejecting, of pushing away, is experienced outside. You think that other people are going to reject you, but really you're just rejecting yourself. You don't know what's happened inside their mind. And the easiest way to understand this is, you might have done, let's just say you've cheated on your boyfriend and you've never told your best friend about it, and then after a long conversation at a campfire, after a few drinks, you tell them, you release this secret of your soul to them, and you tell them, I never told you this, but I cheated on so and so, so many years ago, and what you'll experience is, and you're expecting them to be like, oh my God, you're disgraceful, you're a horrible person. What you're likely to experience is they'll probably be like, I did that too, right? They're probably going to laugh, and they're probably going to, they may reject you too, which only means that they're unconscious of that part of their of this quality of the personality in themselves, right? And they're just rejecting themselves. That's their mind. And let's just say the same quality exists in them, right? Let's just say it's evil or bad or slutty or dirty, whatever it is. This same quality exists in their mind and personality too. It's a human quality, okay? Just because the same if they do reject you, then the same thing is just happening. It's just a projection, okay? And they haven't become conscious enough to see that quality in themselves, and you're still going to feel isolated and alone, and it's pointless, right? But the key here is to see that quality and accept it and not only reject it, right? That the part that's unconscious is what's unconscious is the positive and negative association to that quality. So it's understanding that quality exists in you and that it's actually good, right? Seeing that quality in you is actually a good thing and has a good side to it. Okay, that attitude is unconscious, right? And so what happens is you end up with something like this. It's in-depth psychology. It's called equiternity, so let's just say this quality here is evil or slutty. Then the opposite quality is conscious. And let's just say that quality is good or responsible. And so that quality is consciously connected to you, the ego. That's what you want to be, right? And it's the persona that you put out is that you're only this quality. You tell the world that you're only this quality and you're not this other thing. And what happens is when you bring this quality into consciousness, let's just draw an arrow. So when you bring this quality into consciousness, then you experience the positive and you change your attitude so that you can see both the negative and the positive sides of being slutty or evil, whatever it is. What's going to happen is you're no longer only going to see the positive side of being whatever this other quality is in your conscious mind, right? The only positive side of you're not going to see only the positive side of being good or being responsible or monogamous or whatever the opposite of slutty is in your mind. Okay, you're going to actually see that, okay, there's actually a negative side to that too. And so what happens is you end up with this conscious orientation, this conscious attitude which sees the bad in what you previously only saw as good and sees the good in what you previously only saw as bad. Okay, and that's consciousness. That's what conscious expansion is. It's seeing the total, all sides of reality. And all sides of reality means all sides of yourself. And when that happens, the projection dissolves. Okay, and you're no longer so psychologically isolated from other people because you become conscious of more parts of your personality, and you're conscious of more parts of your personality. And people are going to feel that, and that's what's going to make you even less lonely, because what's going to happen is when you're somebody who has more consciousness and what happens is that you're more accepting and you're more tolerant because you understand that a human being is a human being and they're not perfect. Okay, there's both positive and negative qualities in them. And I'm careful with saying positive and negative because what we learned here is that actually a quality that we perceive as only negative does have a positive side to it. And a quality that we perceive as only positive does have a negative side to it. And so what you're learning here is what's called the quaternity, where positive and negative doesn't exist in the world and in humanity and in the individual human being, which is you, as such a binary cut. It's not that evil is good or that good is evil. It's that there's two sides to it. It's both. Good is both good and evil is both evil and good. And so what happens is when you become more conscious of both sides of, or all the sides of your own personality, is that you're more accepting and tolerant of other people. So when you, for example, bare your soul or tell somebody else a deep dark quality that exists in you that you hate in yourself, and they accept you, that's when it makes it easier to accept the quality in yourself. And the way they're going to accept you is if they've accepted that quality in themselves. And that's not the only way. What can also happen is that somebody loves you so much that at first they they reject you and they're like, holy cow, I can't believe you've done this, or this is who you are, and you've lied to me all this time, or whatever it is. You see it in movies sometimes when one part of the relationship reveals their true identity. And what can happen then is that negative quality that is still unconscious in their mind, it becomes more conscious because they're presented with two facts that don't fit into their reality, right? They have this one image of you as this good person who they love, and then suddenly there's this other thing that they have to put inside that, and it doesn't fit, right? And what happens is over time they discover this quality exists in them too, and then they're more accepting and tolerant, and they are able to love you. And that's what real love is, and that's how you actually don't become lonely. But the first step is to really just accept the negative quality in yourself. So whenever you find yourself holding something back from a relationship or from a friendship or a romantic partner, it's most of the time because you expect them to think badly of you or think badly of that quality in you. And really, it's just that you think badly of that quality in yourself and you haven't accepted it in yourself. And that's what people say when they say that you're not ready to love until you've learned to love yourself. And see, that's what depth psychology is so interesting to me and why it's so useful, because you can take the phrases and the idioms and people tell you all this stuff and this wisdom, but they don't explain to you why it works, like technically with the mind. And so it's difficult to apply or understand, love yourself before you love anyone else. Okay, how? Like it's kind of not useful. So hopefully this is useful and explaining why you feel so lonely, and then also how to not feel lonely and how to actually develop real human connection. And the key is to develop your own personality and develop consciousness in yourself first. And like I said, there's also other ways to go about it, but the key is to just see the negative and the positive and the positive and the negative. And what I haven't really gone into is that it is very, very difficult, and it is almost impossible, because when you see these negative qualities in yourself, you're going to say, how can that possibly be a good thing? How can I possibly ever have a positive relationship to that? It's so bad. It's unforgivable, whatever it is, right? And that is where you begin. And I'll quickly just go into 20 seconds what a quaternity is, but I won't go in this video about how to fix them. But basically, this quadrant here represents your conscious attitude, which is you. This represents the shadow. And then these two quadrants represent what's impossible, what you see as can't exist. And that's what we're talking about here, is that how can the positive possibly be in the negative? And how can the negative possibly be in the positive? How can it possibly be bad to be X, right? Be whatever quality that you have in your mind. And so quaternities are how we actually work our way through these problems and these conflicts in our mind, these splits in our mind. And there's also a couple other tools, and I do go through it in my course, The 7-Day Decision Maker. If you're interested, I'll put the link in the description. But other than that, I'm going to be posting new psychology, depth psychology videos every single day. So if you like this video, hit subscribe. And if you found this video interesting or you have any questions, you can always leave a comment. It always helps me to come up with new video ideas. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.